Hey everybody, hope you all are doing well, and welcome back to our whiskey review number 4, where today we're going to be doing an unboxing as well as a tasting of the newest 2022 Yellowstone Limited Edition Bourbon from the Limestone Branch Whiskey Distiller. And at least from what I have seen so far on the reviews and online and kind of all the scuttlebutt, this bottle supposedly, purportedly, is already going to be the best Yellowstone Limited Edition that they have ever released. So I am really excited to try this one out and see exactly how good it is, as well as do a scoring on the nose, the palate, and the finish, and give a final value score as to whether or not it's actually worth the money that we ended up paying for it, and how much I think you should actually pay for it if you got it at the exact right price for what its flavor is worth. Now, before we get through though, if you like the videos that we're putting out, you like the reviews, the hauls, the wanders, and all the other great stuff we got cooking up for you, don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, so first things first, let's get these things opened up. We got 2 of them because I luckily actually got one from from 2 different locations. So the first one is from outside of California in this tall, skinny box. And the other one I got actually at Total Wine, almost completely randomly. We just happened to be there and it was there. So let's get this open and see exactly what it looks like. And even moreover, find out what it tastes like. So here we go. And I will make the first cut here. Not cut myself, ideally. That's the trouble of being left-handed, I suppose. Let's get this open. Oh. We've got lots of pitas. Thanks, packing people. And ta-da! Look at that. That is a good looking bottle. Get some of this stuff moved over here. Yeah, that is a good looking bottle. It's got a kind of a cool, like, early mid 20th century brutalism to it, like modernism almost. And I like the label on it. Looks pretty awesome as well. It's got this Yellowstone feel to it, like a early international parks feel. Very, very cool. Very, very interesting. All right, so we got this bottle, which is bottle number 1,549. 1,025. Was that 12,000? 12,549. Got the second one, like I said, we got it from Total Wine. We were just kind of there, and we asked them if they had anything, and they did, and it's kind of before we got this one in. So this one is 1,272, so a much lower age bottle. So I'm not going to try them both side by side, although I am kind of curious as to whether or not an early bottle tastes different than a later bottle. That would be an interesting video for sure. All right, so now that we got these 2 beautiful bottles here, let's get one open and see what they taste like. I think I'll take the older one, the 12,000, or the later run, 12,549. You all can see that one. But man, that is just a good looking bottle. I like that. See if we can get a pop on here. Oh, it's got the... That's a good one. Oh. Look at the little nubbins here. One for me, and one for you. Just enough. Wow, look at that. Let's see here. Oh, wow, that's got a real nice nose on it. Definitely not as strong as I thought. Can you all see that in there? Take a look. Oh, yeah. It's got a beautiful color to it. I'd almost call it like a burnt orange sort of color to it. Very different from the last one that the Scotch that we did with I think it was the Offerman 11. Yeah, this bourbon has a very different color to it, of course, which would make sense. But that's pretty amazing. Wow. I guess it would totally make sense because of the fact that it uses the Marsala casks, which are like a sweet wine. It's recast in that, so that color definitely is showing through there, and that is just spectacular. I like that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about a Yellowstone 2022 limited edition and how much I ended up picking them up for. So every year, the Limestone Branch Distillery, based out of Lebanon, Kentucky, releases a special edition limited release of whiskey, which is, in this case, is about 30,000 bottles. So I don't know how limited that is. We can probably talk about whether we count that as actually limited. But this year it's super unique because it's the first year that the limited edition includes whiskey that was actually distilled at their distillery. Previously, they'd use source whiskeys and they blended together to make their creation. This year's Yellowstone edition, limited edition 2022, has an ABV of 50.5% and a suggested retail price of around $100. But again, I got this one for $149.99 when I bought it out of state. And then at the Total Wine one, I got it for $129.99. This edition has 3 different aged bourbons in it at 7, 15, and 16 years old to add a fair kind of youthful exuberance and a balance of matured complexity into the mix. Additionally, this year's limited edition has a second barreling in Marsala cask, which is basically like an Italian sweet wine. I think it's out of Sicily, which is supposed to bring like a unique dynamic to the bourbon and add another layer to the whiskey to make it interesting. So let me get some more nose on this. And this is a really interesting nose. Oh, right up front, the one thing I really do love is it's got a nice sweetness and a really great pipe tobacco. Oh man. You know what, let me do some notes on this one. I'll be back in 2.5 seconds. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what I got on the nose. So on the nose, yeah, there is a definite sweetness that probably comes from that Marsala cask. In fact, it's more like a dominance of sweetness. And the reality is that the overall nose is not overpowering. So it's not a big, strong nose. But out of all the flavors that are in that, there is an indistinct sweetness that comes out and, takes up a majority of the share. Also, yeah, it's like a slight vegetation with a hint of ethanol burn to it, but not very strong at all, at least on the nose. And I get like one funky flavor. Oh, you know what it is? It's going to sound weird, but it smells exactly like school cafeteria, but when they're prepping the food. So they're starting to cook the food, but they haven't started. I guess it's kind of like an industrial food prep smell to it. I don't know how else to describe that. And there's a really lovely whiff of pipe tobacco. Again, it kind of sneaks through in there. And then some more like an effervescence of Coca-Cola. So like when you first open up the Coca-Cola, you're about to take a drink and the bubbles get up your nose. That's exactly, I get that smell, that kind of sweet, unhydrated, I guess it'd be like Coca-Cola syrup smell to it that really kind of sneaks in there. It definitely smells very youthful, like a sweet, like having dessert after a date, right? It's got a nice, innocent, like youthfulness to it. All right, so overall, for the score on the nose, and for my again, this is just my preference. You all can have your own and make your own decisions. But for me, the whiskey, the nose is a bit subtle. It's a little too subdued for me, and it's a lot different than I definitely thought it would. I thought this thing would have like a big, bold kind of personality to it. It's got a wide-shouldered bottle to it, so I don't know. It just kind of gives off that vibe, and I don't get that from the nose. It seems very, kind of sort of, level-headed, and the sweetness just already. It smells a bit off balanced. I do love that hidden pipe tobacco that comes through. But I think on the nose, I'm going to take off 1 point for that timidness, which, I like bold whiskey. And then also 1 point for being unbalanced. So it's like a little too sweet forward. So that puts the total nose score at 4 points out of 6. All right, so that is the nose. Let's try a little bit on the palate here and see. Let's see how that does. This definitely seems incongruent with the nose. Not bad, just incongruent. Yeah, let me take some notes on that. I'll be right back. 1.75 seconds. So on the palate, this one is definitely, a lot different from what I was getting on the nose. First things first, there is a decent ethanol burn right up front. I mean, that is for sure. And it definitely caught me off guard from kind of what I was expecting and what I was prepping for from the nose. Overall, I would say the taste is probably about medium as far as proofiness, if that's a word. And the mouthfeel is creamy and a lot more viscous than what it had looked like in the glass when we first poured it. If you look at that, it doesn't look, it's got a bit of a wateriness to it, but the mouthfeel is definitely more viscous. As far as flavor goes, there's definite sharp edges to it, which again, kind of popped out of nowhere. I didn't expect it to have kind of a sharper feel to it. And it's definitely not nearly as sweet as I would have thought it would have been from the nose. The creaminess is nice. It's a nice addition to it. Has a nice mouthfeel to it for sure. It's about the texture. And that pipe smoke that I was getting, on the nose, it seemed to really sort of manifest itself into more of like a creme brulee in the mouth. Once all the other flavors kind of die down and begin to subside. And I think that maybe they missed the mark a little bit with the Marsala flavors from the barrel, because they just seemed a little more blanket and like cover all the other flavors rather than kind of orchestrate them into their own complementary configurations. The tail, I think, is where I would be most disappointed with this one. It's mainly dominated by alcohol burn. But so for me, it's just not preferable. I think that that's the finish on this is short and burning. I think Voltaire said that. All right, so for the scoring, and 7 years ago, no, what scores say? Abraham Lincoln jokes? No, this is too soon for that. Anyways, I think on the palate, I will take 2 points first. One for the ethanol taste on the front end side, and then one from the ethanol taste on the back end side. Also, I'll take off 1 point for that lumbering sweetness that just seems to like hover over everything, but doesn't really interact with anything and the other flavors, so it's just kind of there. Almost makes it feel kind of gimmicky. And the finish, just way faster. The finish is way faster than I would expect for a $120 bottle. I know, call me an old man. $120 is not what it used to be in bourbon, and don't spend it all in one place and get off my lawn. I get that, but it just didn't hold up to my expectations. So on the palate, take off 3 points in total, so that brings the score down to 12 out of 15. And then for the finish, I'm just going to take off a couple points. I'm going to give it 6 points overall because it was just, the finish is just very uninspiring. Now, we may digress to the prerogative of the wife, who is someone not to be messed with in the house or abroad, but she has great advice as far as whiskey goes. Let's see if we can get some points out of her. Oh, yes.
Last time you were complaining.
This time is this time. All right, cheers. All right, so we take minus 1 point from the palate, which I think is probably fair. She's a little less generous than I am. And minus 1 point from the finish, which I think is probably not even enough. All right, so with that, that brings the total score to 20 points out of 30. And so when we take that number, the 20, and we turn that into a percentage, that comes out to 66.67%. So that is where the flavor value is at. So the high and low medium prices that I found on this bottle, and I paid, for that matter, $129.99 for this one and $149.99 for this one. And on the high side, I found one for $199. There were some that had way higher prices, but I don't think anyone's paying that, and hopefully they're not. So that puts the average price for this one at $59.99. Now, if we apply our tasting score of 66.67% to our average price of $159.99, we get the actual value cost, how much you should be paying based off the flavor for this bottle, at $106.66. So, in this case, if we take the lowest price that I paid for it, the $129.99, it means that I overpaid by $23.33 or 21.87%. So I did it so you don't have to. You're welcome. This also puts the whiskey second to last on our chart of the whiskeys that we have tried, right above the High West Campfire, which has admittedly a beautiful bottle, but a whiskey that is less than stellar. And also right below the Smoke Wagon, rye, which was pretty good. It is a pretty good whiskey. So overall, I am a bit disappointed in this bottle. I saw some of the reviews online that really like raved about it, and I don't know. Maybe it's because this one is the higher up in the range, and this one's the 1000. Maybe they taste different. But I'm just a little disappointed in the bottle because I saw so many reviewers, even some tough reviewers who typically kind of underscore whiskeys, give this a very good preferable rating. So, I mean, it's possible. I'm willing, just as an intermediate whiskey drinker, I'm willing to accept that maybe this just isn't a bottle for me. All right, so that's it for today, and I hope that you enjoyed our video. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And also remember, if you do see a whiskey you love, just buy it. Because if you don't, somebody else surely will, and it might even be me. All right, everybody, I'm out. Have a great rest of your day.